Dykstra is going to take it herself. Dykstra with the miss and the punch. Dykstra wins the ball game.
Up with Montana and on to the NCAA tournament.
Let's get the games going. All summer you talk about everything else, right? We talk about, player movement, the transfer portal. Now we can finally talk about the games.
Welcome into the Big Sky Basketball Tip-Off Show presented by Idaho Central Credit Union. I'm Megan Robinson, and I'm excited to be here tipping off another season of college hoops. The Montana men entered 2025-2026 as defending regular season and tournament champions. However, they only have 3 players with experience returning from last year's roster. That didn't stop voters from picking 12th-year head coach Travis DeCuire and his Grizzlies as the preseason number 1. Coach, first and foremost, congratulations. Montana was voted number 1 in both the preseason media and coaches poll. What does this recognition mean to you?
It just speaks to the last 11 years, right? And just the talent we've had and the work that our staff has put in, the success over a period of time. I think we're in an era right now where we don't know, really how good someone is or isn't because there's so much turnover that you just, you pick some names out of hat sometimes.
You're talking about that turnover. You have 6 new additions plus a handful of guys who redshirted last season. You told me only 3 guys really played last season on that Big Sky championship team. How do you manage the expectations of being preseason number 1 when your roster is almost entirely new?
Mostly we ignore it. For us, we don't make a big deal out of it. It's day by day for us. We got a long way to go. We know that. Right now, we're in the grind and we're concentrating more on areas of improvement as a team and chemistry and finding a way for each guy to define a role for himself.
One of your key returners is, of course, Monty Williams. He was voted preseason MVP, a unanimous all-conference preseason selection. Where has his game grown the most from his freshman year until now?
I think where he's grown the most is really just understanding how valuable the guys around him are. He's always been a playmaker. He's always been talented with the ball in his hands. And I think he's learned, how to get the most of the guys around him, which makes him a prolific playmaker. And I think he's grown a lot on the defensive side of the ball. I think he's a guy now that we can put on the ball and have him at the point of attack defensively. So hopefully we'll continue to see growth in those areas as well.
Looking at your schedule, you said when it comes to non-conference games, a lot of teams say no to playing the Grizz. Why is that the case?
We don't fit the formula. And when you look at mid-major and high-major programs that are trying to get at-large bids, position themselves to be able to get in that large bid, if they don't win their conference, their scheduling plays a large role in where they rank in the net. The net says that you should play, teams that 250 or worse in the net, or teams that are, inside of 100. And so we just don't fit the formula. We've consistently been above 100, inside of 150. And there's 50 teams a year that pretty much are not teams that people want to play because they don't help their net.
How do you feel about your non-conference schedule for 25-26 with all of that in mind?
I think it worked out. It usually does. I'm usually happy with our schedule. I haven't really had a year where I haven't been happy. It's just, our fans got to wait a long time to figure out who we're playing and when. Once again, it's a very strong schedule. We're going to play some high major teams that expect to win games in the NC2A tournament. And we're going to have a lot of like opponents that will compete for championships, whether it's the Summit Challenge or, teams like Lamar and Oakland that both won 20 plus games last year coming to us. And so it's going to be a tough one for us, and just how we like it. When we go into conference one, we'll have some tough skin in terms of having some experience with good teams. But we'll also know where we're at and where we need to get to compete for championships in our own conference.
Days away from tipping off your 12th season as head coach of the Montana Grizzlies, what are you most excited for?
For me, it's just the growth of the individuals in the unit, right? And each guy's got some areas to improve upon. We need to come together on both sides of the ball and figure out where we're going to find ways to win games, what our strengths will be as a group. That's the funnest part is the growth. And we'll go play, high level games, and we won't be sure. And we'll come home in December, have an opportunity to play some like opponents, and before we go into conference, we evaluate ourselves. And so we look at the 4 seasons, right? And as we grow, I think that's the funnest part about it is the reevaluation throughout the season before you actually get to March. And then when March comes, you try to see what you can make happen when everyone's paying attention.